So you please read that?
Yeah. Thank you for doing these live talks, very enlivening. Krishna West came up in today's discussion, and as I understand, the members of the organization use clicker counters instead of Tulasi-malas for their Japa meditation. What are your thoughts on this? Is it necessary to chant on beads, or is it simply an arbitrary practice? Can you please talk about the history and significance of the Japa mala in the Gaudiya Vaiṣṇava tradition?
So she's speaking about these clickers, right? Those little stainless steel things with numbers and a little tink, and every time you click it down, it rolls a number.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, I've heard that before, that along with, whatever else has been chucked out the window, a lot of the Krishna West community, I guess that's what you'd call it, without mentioning names, the Krishna West community, they chant their Japa on a clicker. Is that right? Has anybody else heard that or seen that?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm. So we looked up a couple things, Tulsi beads. So first I'd like to say that, well, at least in my case, and I'm sure it holds true with many, many devotees, when we were initiated, Harinam initiation, we were given our Japa mala by our Guru Maharaj. And in my particular case, that is Srila Prabhupada, etc., and Goswami also. So we receive our Japa mala from him. If he would have given me a clicker, I would value that clicker above all things. If he'd have given me a prickly cactus to chant on, well, I'd value that above all things. So I think that's one thing we should bear in mind, that whatever our Guru has given us to chant on, well, the disciple should naturally value that above all material possessions. Now the Guru gives the clicker, not Japa beads, so the disciples chant on a clicker. Yes, then the disciples chant on a clicker. But the question is, what about the chanting? Well, you go back 100 years or go back so many years, the clicker didn't exist. So, we did some research on that, right, Giri Maharaj?
Yeah.
And although in Jaiva Dharma and in Gaudiya Sampradaya and in also other Sampradayas, etc., particularly in Vrindavan, the most desired physical object to wrap your fingers around while chanting and counting beads is a Tulasi-mala. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's so popular that there must be a half a dozen or more bead shops in Vrindavan and the same down in Mayapur and Navadvip that just sell Japa malas made of Tulsi and neem.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Yeah.
However, that's what's in vogue. That's what's in vogue in most of the sampradayas. That's what's in vogue in Vrindavan. That's what's in vogue in our sampradaya. However, if you go and look at the biggest part of the picture, you'll see that there are many things even recommended in Shastra that you can chant on,
right,
including your fingers. And that we have references that Mahaprabhu, when he traveled in South India, he carried a water pot in one hand and chanted Japa, keeping count on his fingers.
It says, actually, I looked at that verse, it's in the Madhya Leela. I think Sarvabhauma is saying to him, he's goading Mahaprabhu to take a servant with him, because he said, you're going to be using both your hands, one for counting Japa and the other one to keep count of how many rounds you're chanting. So he says, Dui Hasta. You're using both hands to chant. Mm-hmm. So someone has to carry your kamandalu.
And there's another reference, I believe you told me about it at some point, that Mahaprabhu had a string with knots in it.
Yes. Rupa Goswami in his Pratama Chaitanyashtakam prayers, on the 5th verse, he mentions when Mahaprabhu would dance in Kirtan, then it says sutra, means a piece of string with knots in it. He would keep it in his waistband and it would jingle, it would move around as he danced. So that was for counting Japa.
So Mahaprabhu himself chanting on his fingers, chanting on a knotted piece of cloth or string. I think there was a reference also to either Gaurkishore or...
Yeah. Gaurkishore sometimes chanted on beads or sometimes on a piece of knotted cloth.
A knotted cloth. And where he picked up that cloth is probably somewhere on the banks of the Ganges. He picked up some cloth, tie it in knots, and chant on it. So the main thing is chanting the holy name. What you chant on, be it your fingers, a piece of cloth, a piece of tulsi beads, or these are all right. There are many choices out there. In fact, we found a list. And do you have that list handy, Gary?
It's in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's in the 17th Vilas. Sanatana Goswami, first of all, he speaks mostly on Tulsi and Amalaki, these two in particular.
Amalaki.
Dry Amalaki, he says. But then he quotes
Amalaki means
Gautami.
Amla.
Yeah.
Amalaki is different.
No, Amalaki, Amla, same thing.
Amla,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So then he quotes the Gautamiya Tantra, which says Amalaki or Tulsi. Then he quotes the Agni Purana, which says beads of gold or conch shell or coral. Shiva Purana he quotes, which is chanting on fingers, coral, silver, gold, kusha grass knots, crystal, and padma and lotus.
Crystal means spatik.
Yeah, and lotus seeds as well.
Lotus seeds.
He gives a big list.
Other than the gold, I mean, I have seen gold mala. I've seen a gold mala embedded with diamonds. One Hindu friend of mine in Dubai had a mala, gold beads, and each one embedded with many diamonds. I've seen silver japa malas before, but usually what you can see a lot of is lotus seed malas, spatika. Was Rudraksha mentioned at all?
Yeah, Rudraksha and Bhadraksha. That's mentioned both as well.
Yeah. So there are many, many things, and most of these things are auspicious or considered pure and whatnot. But the preferred, as you read, was Tulsi and Amalaki.
Yeah,
and above the two, it is Tulsi that has number one position, most desirable for chanting. So what makes any of these things desirable for chanting is, well, several things. One is their availability, their purity, and their innate, inherent spiritual connection. So I laugh about this clicker, and, because when I was, I was about 18, I got a part-time job helping inventory 7-Eleven stores. I lasted 2 days and I quit. But we had to go to each shelf and there would be packs of powdered milk, and you'd have to go and you'd count them with your fingers, but you'd tick, 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 you had that same clicker in your hand. You'd click all these things, and then you'd look out and you'd go 250 packs or whatever it was, and the guy would write it down. You'd set it to 0 and go to the next item. It was just so you could keep track. So it's a great way to keep track, but it's not an auspicious. The clicker is not an auspicious thing.
Right.
And I do remember years and years ago when one of the acharyas in Mayapur was, some people said he's addicted to chanting on his clicker, and there was a whole resolution resolved that he has to chant on Tulsi, so he glued a Tulsi bead on the top of his clicker. Gotcha.
I actually saw a clicker recently when I went to see a yagya in Mysore, and they were doing 1,008 Narasingha mantras, and there was one young brahmachari, he had a clicker, and he was using the clicker in order to figure out how many 1,008 was, as he was the one that was counting all the... So now it's moved to the other sampradayas.
So, a lot of discussion, clicker, no clicker, all this kind of stuff. It's so disappointing. Someone said to me, wrote an email and said, it's so disappointing, it's hard to, it's painful, he was saying, to look at the Hare Krishna movement today when the, main concerns of debate are clicker, no clicker, women guru, no guru, flat earth, and things that really don't matter one way or the other, and the real important issues of proper siddhanta and proper behavior and all these things are completely No interest. No
Mhm.
interest.